This is my 5-gallon Betta tank after 30 days. And in the past month, we've been able to see this aquarium grow and change and really develop into a fantastic home for our betta fish Bunchy. But after 30 days and some time to have some clarity, there are a few things I'd like to change and things I would have done differently. But honestly, I'm really happy with the way things are, and I can't wait to show you what's happened over the past couple of weeks. If you haven't been following along, we built a 5-gallon nano tank for our betta fish here. We used the hang on the back filter, heater, and lightly planted it with some very beginner-friendly plants. The goal was just to create an incredibly easy 5-gallon nano tank that anyone at home can replicate, but still has everything you need to provide your betta fish with the best possible home. We then went to our local aquarium store, who has probably one of the best betta selections and setups in the country, and picked out our fish and brought him home. After looking at about maybe 100 different betta fish, we finally chose Bunchy. We loved his coloration. He was very active in the tank, and that's proven to be incredibly true in our aquarium. He's a very active betta fish, very fun, and he's got quite a personality. So we're really happy that we chose him, and now you get to see what he's been up to the past couple of weeks. Now, if you've been following along at home, you may have seen in our first week update that although our aquarium was cycled, the nitrite to nitrate cycle needed a little bit of time to catch up to Bunchy's bioload. So during the first week, there were a couple water changes required just to keep things at safe levels, while the beneficial bacteria that runs the nitrogen cycle was growing and adjusting. But after that, the tank has been extremely stable. So we're really happy with how things have developed, and now that the aquarium is more mature, it's still very young in aquarium terms, but it's now able to really easily handle Bunchy's bioload, and now we're just down to very minimal water changes, and I'm hoping to stretch that out as things progress. Bunchy's proven to be a voracious eater. Although we work very hard to only give Bunchy the proper amount of food, he's very hungry all the time and just knows how to beg. And it gets a little difficult actually capturing him doing normal behavior, because even when I have the tripod with my camera filming him, he thinks the tripod is going to feed him more food. So he's constantly begging and trying to get as much food as possible. Here we are just giving him some frozen bloodworms, which has been a nice treat for him. It's just some enrichment, not something we feed every day. In some really big news, Bunchy actually welcomed a roommate to his tank. Or maybe it's just a living Roomba. It's kind of hard to draw the line, but this is a nearite snail, and there's always the question of, what else can live with a betta fish in a nano tank, right? As far as tank mates. And a nearite snail is actually a fantastic addition and something I recommend to anyone who has a betta in a 5-gallon nano tank. They can coexist perfectly together. The snail is going to help you keep the aquarium clean, and it also can't really be hurt by your betta fish unless your betta fish is extremely, aggressive, but usually there's no issue. So now we're going to run through a typical maintenance session. With a nano tank, what's really great is because of its small size, you can do maintenance really quickly. And that means you're more inclined to do it more often, therefore having a cleaner tank, at least in theory, right? That's definitely held true for me. So here I am using a glass scraper to help clean the glass because my nearite snail is just, I guess he's slacking, right? He's not doing the best job making this glass perfect, especially for YouTube, where thousands of people are going to see it. But anyway, in this maintenance session, I just want to go over a few things that I've noticed in the tank that I probably would have done differently, And this happens with every aquarium, right? There's certain things that you choose to do in the beginning with some good intentions, and then you realize maybe it wasn't the best choice. So for my first decision, I think I probably wouldn't have used a hang on the back filter in the aquarium. And there's a couple of reasons why I say that. First, when the water level gets low, they get kind of loud just because of the water flowing from the filter into the aquarium. It's just the nature of gravity, really just making that much more disruptive. And then it actually can even splash the front glass like you saw. So that's something I probably would have changed. Maybe you've done something like a nano canister filter. In a tank this size and with this type of setup, I think a sponge filter would work, although I don't always love the aesthetics of those. So just something for me to think about. It hasn't been an awful experience. It's just something that I have found that's not my favorite, right? So that's the first thing, really. Another thing I probably would change in the future, and this is probably going to happen naturally, is I would have probably planted heavier in the beginning, especially during the build. I was just very focused on making this an affordable, very approachable aquarium build that anyone feels like they can handle. So in doing so, I may have gone a little too lean. So I'm hoping the plants will grow in and kind of right that wrong for me. My biggest challenge by far has been the dwarf water lettuce. And the issue, I'm not exactly sure. But if you see the dwarf water lettuce, there's some yellowing leaves that are actually melting. And it could be a couple of factors, right? It could be old leaves just melting away as they adjust to a new aquarium environment. It could be a nutrient deficiency, or it could be the hang on the back filter flowing on top of the leaves and getting the tops wet and causing them to rot. So I'm going to remedy that in a few different ways during this maintenance session. But right now I'm just kind of cutting off the yellowed, ugly leaves so we can start with the best possible healthy plants. So right here is the start of an experiment. And what I did is I placed that black ring where the water flows in from the hang on the back filter to prevent those leaves from the dwarf water lettuce from going under the filter. Now typically you would use a ring like this to corral floating plants inside of it, but I'm kind of doing the opposite here. And there's a risk in doing this, right? Because you need that surface agitation to remove the protein, kind of like oil slick layer that can form on the tops of aquariums. So I'm going to try this out and just kind of see what happens. If it doesn't work, I can always remove it. But it's always fun to try something and, a low stakes experiment, right? And we'll just see what happens. So anyway, after 30 days of having Bunchy home and having this aquarium set up, I'm really happy with the way things have turned out. It's proven to be a very exciting, very nice piece of nature in our home, but very easy to take care of, low maintenance, easy to set up, affordable, and all those things that you want when you're getting into a hobby. And that was the whole point of building this tank, right? I wanted to create a very simple, very repeatable, and easy, lightly planted aquarium for a betta fish, because anyone can do this. It's only a couple products. They're all listed in the description below. The whole build is out there. All the information is there, and you can build this in your home. It's proven to be a very stable tank. I've had no algae issues at all, and it's just a natural little ecosystem here. Not the most diverse ecosystem. I get that, but it's also not sterile either as an aquarium with fake plants and pirate ships, although the pirate ships do look cool, right? So if you're into building a nano planted tank for a betta fish, this could be your first stepping stone into that world. And it's proven to be, like I said, stable. We've had no algae issues. My fish is very healthy. Bunchy's just been great. The Nearite snail, although he's got some work to do, he's been awesome too. And it doesn't take up a lot of room in your house. You know, you can build a 5-gallon nano tank like this and move with it very easily. You know, I had 2 of these my entire college career and never issues, right? So that's what makes a nano tank like this just so cool and so versatile. So anyway, thank you for watching. You know, please subscribe, and if you want to know about any of these products, all the links are in the description, and you know, we'll catch you on the next one, and we'll continue to update everyone on Bunchy and, you know, let you guys know how this aquarium continues to develop.